Well, because in a world where people are not reading, the fact that you care to read is a good indication that you're interested in knowledge and not just somebody who just scroll through the social media and that's where you get your knowledge is. Because uh, I can't tell you how challenging it is for us in the Straits Times and also all the other media to actually write something that hope people will read. Simply because I think in the world today, many people just want to take the easy way out. It's always very good to just watch the video rather than to read. But we forget that when you read, your mind works harder. When you read, your mind processes things better. And if you just rely on AI alone to do all this, my question to you is, if AI can do the work that you want to do, then why should your boss keep you? Right? This is the question that I always pose to the writers of my participants of my writing workshop, because I also conduct a writing workshop. Because in a world dominated by AI and everything, how can we human become more successful? And that is really truly the easy answer to that is to become more human. Because we have to think, we have to act for human. Now, it seems rather pretentious for me to say that, oh, why my book? To write it, Retire with More Money. Why do I title my book Retire with More Money? And not say that retire with a lot of money. Isn't that better? Retire with a lot of money. Being a legally trained person, I'm conditioned to only write things that is true. I cannot, in my good heart and sense, say that I can write a book to tell you how to retire with a lot of money, simply because I also don't know. I don't know how to retire a lot of money. Because if I can retire with a lot of money, number one, I won't be here. I should be holidaying somewhere in Bermuda, in Paris, jet setting around, because I have lots of money. The answer is no. I give you one example to tell you nobody knows, can really tell you how the stock market is performing, how things will go or whatever, because it's always with the benefit of hindsight. I know in Singapore people are crazy over one particular US stock, Tesla. Everybody loves Tesla. Because somehow there's some circle that actually equate Elon Musk to be even like Tony Stark. He's like a Superman, you know, like, oh, he's a superhero on our age. So everybody just jumped into the stock. So Tesla was trading around $300 two, 3 weeks ago, but suddenly it went back up to 400. And what's the reason that drove the increase by almost a third? No other reason other than Mr. Musk himself telling the public that, hey, I just spent another $1 million buying up the shares. So that alone drives up the sentiment. So if you are an investor, what I'm trying to say is that you will always get, you will always be put at a disadvantage to people who are in the know. The owners, the people who knows, because only they will know how the sentiment will go. And more importantly, sometimes in this case, it's not even driven by fundamentals. There are many stock specialists who now feeling a bit embarrassed because they themselves say that I don't think Tesla is worth anything more than 300. But now it's trading at 400 plus. What's the reason? Sentiment. So it breaks the point that can we follow? Can we try to hunt and do it right? Well, I can only say that it will take a very brave person to actually buy something at 400 now, because suddenly if things sentiment go back, it may drop to 300 plus or 200 plus. You all remember that there was a time where Tesla went up a lot simply because Donald Trump won the election, and he's a good friend of Donald Trump. And the day they decided to end their relationship, the share dropped. My God, when was the last time share market is determined by friendship? So in this instance, if you go in at 400, well, good luck. If it goes to 500, well done. You're lucky. But what if it goes the other way around? The question is, of course, at the end of the day, it takes a brave soul to do that. There's always a general investment slogan that says, don't buy any investment product that's high risk unless you have spare cash. You know, you use your spare cash to invest. Trust me, even if you have spare cash, the fact that if you lose 100,000 the next day, it hurts. It hurts a lot too. Nobody has got that much spare cash that you won't hurt when money go missing. People will always tell you, oh, use spare cash, whatever. But then if you lose that spare cash, it means you're really down to bare minimum. So today, what I'm going to do is that why I can promise you that you can retire with more money, like the heading of my book, is based on one condition, that you understand the pure basic. That means if you understand the rules, the law, and everything that govern money and property, for instance, you should be assured that at the very least, you will not lose money. Because this is what it's all about. Many people, I realize, don't even know the basic rules that govern our money and wealth. Take property, for instance. Lesson number 1, property. Coincidentally, today if you go to the Straits Times Digital and maybe tomorrow in the newspaper, I've written a piece on why many retirement planners in Singapore no longer think that property is their top choice. A few years ago, 65% of people will include property in their portfolio when they plan. But right now, according to the poll by Manulife, only about 30%. Why suddenly half of them decided not to look at property as their investment choice for retirement planning? I think the answer is simple. Because property is getting expensive. Not many people can actually buy a second property. And then not only that, I think the realization that property may not be a good investment is because of the various rules that govern property in Singapore. We have the famous ABSD. I think probably everyone knows Singaporeans are probably the only one who can get used to all these acronyms, so much so that they become part of our life. COE, ABSD, these two dirty words, it only keeps going, make us pay a lot more, But the idea is, if you look at property as an investment, I'm not saying that don't buy. I can tell you, I'm sure many of you, in fact, most of you who aspire to retire comfortably will do this. On Monday, if you have struck the total, the first thing to come to your mind is buy a second property. I tell you, I also do the same thing. I also have this idea that the only way that if I, let's say, were to buy a property, if I struck total, because this will be the extra cash that doesn't require, easy come, easy go, I just buy a property. But my reason of buying a property would be different from many people. I don't buy property for investment. I buy property because I want to enjoy, to have another home. So where would I select if I were to buy a second home? In Orchard Road, if I can afford. That's a simple reason, why I will buy an apartment in close by in the city. Because number one, maybe I can, if I have an apartment nearby, I can do this more often. I can tell Kinokuniya, hey, I can give a talk here every month, because very easy. I just walk there and then later when I'm done, I just walk back. The reason of having a home in a centralized location, if you plan ahead, it's a common sense. Imagine if you live in a city when you're 80 years old, 90 years old, because all Singaporeans, everyone is getting older, so this number shouldn't shock people. You will still have friends. Your friends also may be late, 70, 80. You want to organize a get-together. Okay, can you all come and meet me at Center Point? Because I just live there, I can just walk downstairs and meet you all. People will know how to come look for you. But if you stay in some faraway town or whatever, that require 3 changes of MRT, I don't think people will be looking for you. And also, sometimes property investment, even if you buy, I say buy to enjoy and live. Because I seriously don't understand the mindset of people who buy a brand new property and then lease it out. My God, why are you letting your brand new home be destroyed by somebody that you don't even know? There are people in this world who will behave differently when they are living in places that are not theirs. For instance, they don't switch on the aircon. Don't switch off the aircon. I'm going to work and I come back, I want to make sure that my home is still cool. So I leave my aircon on all the time. If you are the owner of the U unit, my God, it's like you will feel that my home is being misused by people like that. And also maybe, okay, fine, you think the rent is good and everything. You are basing your decision on your current self right now. You are energetic, you're full of passion. These days, even if you're 60, 60 is the new 40, you're still full of energy. No problem. I can deal with any tenant. Fast forward another 20 years. When you're 80, do you still really want to file income tax for your rent, collect, collect rent, and chase after your tenant if your tenant don't whatever? I mean, sometimes when people talk about property investment, they never think about the end part. What are you going to do? Eventually, what if, let's say, suddenly there's another downturn? Many people forget that, although it didn't really happen in Singapore, we had Lehman Brothers, we had pandemic, both didn't really affect the price of property. The prices of property keep on going up for the last 2 decades. But situation, my view is, sometimes it's not sustainable. Somebody who just paid $3 to $4 million to buy a 3-bedroom apartment, say in suburban area, brand new apartment. When you pay that kind of money to buy a big apartment in a suburban area, are you hoping to sell it at 5 million? Because after you pay 4 million, you must write some profit, right? Then who is going to pay 5 million to buy a property? Because you may not believe it, if you do your checks, there are very good deals in this area, in Cane Hill or whatever. Yes, old apartment, freehold, but they still, you can find them 1,000 square feet for about 2 to 3 million. All it takes is just a renovation and it will be just as good as new. Freehold, within walking distance to this place, for 2 to 3 million, and you paid 4, 5 million outside. Why? Because I think Singaporean probably have got this interesting habit that they like brand new stuff. I don't want to buy a resale home, I buy a new home. Good. Now, when you yourself don't like resale property, then what makes you think that next time, 5 years later, 6 years later, you sell your place? The buyer will also buy your resale home because they also maybe like you prefer the new home. So then you will have a problem getting a place, right? I mean, I'm saying all this to alert you on one simple fact. Human being, when you do things, when you make investments, buy property, always think about the human factor as well. For me personally, I practice what I preach. When I bought my current home 20 years ago, I still living in the same place. The day I stepped into the apartment and I bought it, I had this thinking, okay, I buy it because I think I can sell this place later on because location is fantastic, view is fantastic, area size is good, design is good. As it turned out now, it's even better because I have an MRT station just outside my condo. So the idea is, when you buy something, if you are really into investing or even saying, I would remind you that whenever that you buy things, please make sure you have an exit strategy. Whatever that you buy can be sold easily because it's the top of the cream. It means your unit is the best unit in the development and people would love to come and buy your unit. Don't think that property is a done deal. I don't know whether you have read Straits Times recently. There is 2 interesting stories about property. One was regarding a young property owner who bought a studio apartment in Marina Residences. You know, one of those, the nice, one of the top condominium that is situated right in Shenton Way. She bought it, if I remember correctly, about 1.5 million, 1.55 million or something like that. It's a studio apartment. Then she wanted to lease out to somebody. She was told that she should be able to get rental. But then the rental stopped after 1 year, so she's stuck because there was no rental for a certain period, but never mind. Then she decided to sell, and she told us that it took her 3 years to sell that unit. Because you know why? At that price, who would want to pay for a studio apartment? Who can afford 1.5 million, 1.6 million, 1.7 million? Young family, right? Young family, would they be comfortable paying this money to stay in a place that is so small? So that's why I said the resale value must make sense, right? If you buy something, you must anticipate who has the money to fork up 2 million, 3 million. Has to be a family. And when it talks about family, you must have room enough for kids and everything. Right? Why would I pay so much to be stuck in a small place? So in the end, lucky for her, she was able to sell the place, but only at a 50,000 profit from the purchase price 3 years ago. I didn't think the 50,000 is enough to cover all her expenses and all the interest rates and everything. That means it's a loss for her. Right? So what I'm trying to say is that property, yes, it was a good investment previously. If you are lucky, you bought it early, fine. But you have to hamper your expectation, because you just look at the world around us. Hong Kong, everybody said property in Hong Kong will always be great. But look what's happening in Hong Kong right now. There was a story which I read in the Straits Times just yesterday, talking about retail space. They didn't talk about commercial space. A retail space just dropped by 50 to 70% price of retail. That means shops are not doing well because maybe nobody can afford to buy anymore. So Hong Kong also facing problems with property. China also facing problems with commercial, residential property. These are traditional countries where Asian countries, because property is an Asian thing. You don't find many American, British, or French people owning more than one property. In fact, it's even hard to find anyone owning any property because they live in rental. You watch all those Netflix series or whatever, people always talk about rent. They don't say I'm the owner. Very few you get one or two persons who have a property. Only Asians are obsessed in a word with property. Nothing wrong, but you must understand your purpose of having the property. Like I said, buy because you like to stay there. Great, by all means, even if it's 5 million, 6 million, go ahead. If you love that place, go for it. But if you use it only for investment, then you must dial back a bit and ask, can I sell? What can I do? Is there exit strategy? And then these days, because there are many wealthy people around us quietly accumulating wealth, Gen X, people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who have done well, parents, very doting parents, they always come and tell me, oh, I'm currently living in my own condominium now. Just recently, a property consultant just said this to me. Oh, I'm currently living in a nice condominium, but my husband and I are thinking of buying another property. So I said, oh, okay. And then she tell me, oh, the reason why I do this is so that my two children, will have a property each from their parents. So I paused her there. I said, why are you buying property for your kids? When you buy property for your kids, have you ever considered the possibility that half the property may go to the future wife or husband if there's a divorce? That means you are basically investing and sharing your wealth with somebody that you don't like, somebody that ill-treat your daughter, somebody who doesn't love your son, and then later decide to file for divorce after 3 or 4 years. Because when a person enters a marriage with a property and that home is used as a matrimonial property, anything go wrong, your spouse have a share. Let me give you the stark reality of sometimes you think it doesn't happen, right? Okay, there was a case which I wrote, I always use that as an example. A woman was very lucky to have very well-off parents. Her parents gave her 2 houses in Serangoon. At that time, the houses worth is $6 million. As it turned out, her mom was very prudent. She actually able to buy 2 properties that's next to each other. So the woman had a great idea. Since now the property belongs to me, I will renovate and do it, combine the 2 homes together, so everybody have a good life, bigger house. My children also growing up. And since she's not working, the husband, who's a banker, a foreigner, a banker, decided to, of course, naturally being the main breadwinner, paid for all the renovation and everything to convert the house and everything. As it turned out, later on, the husband decided to set up another home overseas with another woman. So the wife filed for divorce. This was a case that really nobody can side with the husband. You actually have a secret mistress somewhere. But because she paid for the house was part of matrimonial property. That $6 million house was shared. 40% of it goes to the husband. Because why? The wife brought the property into the thing. It may belong to her, but the rule says matrimonial property will be shared. That's why I said at the end of the day, understanding the law and how it works will ensure that you won't make you very rich, but certainly you will make sure that you have more money, right? Because if everybody knows how to do this, for instance, parents who decide to give the house to the son, I would advise them, don't do it because, not saying anything, I'm not saying the parents shouldn't help the son, but why do you want to give a house at this early age to your son or your kid? Then I ask yourself, I always ask the question, it's all about being human. I like to use my own experience into this because, like I said, it's always good to use real examples so that it becomes real. I was having lunch not too long ago with the senior vice president of a bank. Executive vice president, sorry, I downgraded her. She's very, very rich and very she proudly proclaimed to me, my son just graduated and I bought him a BMW. Wow, what kind of mother is this, Son graduate of BMW, She expected me to praise her. Hey, you're such a good mother. No, I just looked at her. I said, why do you do that? You know what I said? I said, you are the executive vice president of a bank because I'm very sure when you graduated, your parent didn't buy you a BMW. You worked hard for it, and that's why you go up right to the top. If your son at that very early age has got a house, has got a car, do you think he or she will work hard like you? I mean, it's human nature, right? If I'm at home, I don't have to worry so much. I can actually go work. I already got home. And the idea is, okay, even if really no, this person is actually a very good child, you trust the person, you want to help out. A better advice is always like, don't buy the person a property, give cash out. What's wrong with cash? Maybe open up a fixed deposit or whatever, put $2 million in his name with your name, joint name as an account, and whenever he's in trouble, he wants to buy home, he can draw money from it. Because if the account is kept separate, even if next time when the divorce happens, this is pre-marital assets. And because you are also the joint account owner, the wife can't claim that it is the husband's money. So the husband will have no claim. The in-law. I mean, I'm not saying that we prepare for this kind of thing, but the point is, it's always good to be the one with the money. As a parent, right, I always advise parents, worry about your own retirement needs first. Be the one with the money, so that you can always come in and help. Don't be like another couple which I featured in my book. This parent, again, another doting parent. Son says want to study. Okay, first boy sent to US all the way for doctorate. Daughter wants to study. Okay, United Kingdom all the way paid. So total cost of education 600,000. They literally spend their life saving on the kid. You will imagine that with this kind of parent, the children will love the parents dearly, right? After all, you spend your whole life saving just for my education. I will repay my parents all with tears running down. But no, they disappeared. I mean, they probably is a pioneer of it. They ghosted their parents. The son suddenly decided not to contact the parent, ghosted. Daughter, supposedly working here in Singapore, but also ghosted. No, because they don't know, the parents don't know where they are now. Now that they are in trouble. Why is this case? How come I know about this case? It's because the father and mother, they happen to be divorced. The father have remarried and started his own family, nothing wrong. But he decided that he cannot afford to pay 1,200 to the ex-wife anymore as a maintenance. So he actually came to court to ask the judge, can you reduce my maintenance from 1,200 to just 600? So man and woman, husband, the father and mother actually went to high court to fight over $600. Just this. The son and daughter, where's the son and daughter? I'm saying that there are many things that can go wrong in the family, but the idea is, as the parent, as the person who's the smart one, it's always good to be the one with the money, simply because you don't want to end up in a situation where in your old age you need to go to work because you have run out of money. You have your money because you are prudent. You won't want to give all the money to the house, to the children, because suddenly next year you decide to mortgage the home to go and buy crypto. It's like, why do you want to do that? Be the one. And then since we're talking about this, then I talking about home. My second point, I'm going to make three main points today. One is property. Know your rights of property. Understand why you need property. And also understand that nothing is free in this world. You must do your part. The second point that I'm going to talk about is very, very controversial. It's about CPF. I dare say that if I do a poll here about all the shoppers in this place, I would say that maybe 70%, close to 70% would think that it's a scam. People hate CPF, because there's one thing that you put money there, you get locked up and everything. But I'm saying that at the end of the day, can we just take a step back to first understand and digest what exactly is CPF? Who owns CPF? Who organizes this scheme? The people behind. For all Singaporeans here, sorry, I didn't mean to be rude or whatever, because I just want to bring up a point. Singaporeans will have received their CDC voucher 2 months ago. 600 for those aged below 60, 800 for those aged 60 and above. Great thing. Government gives CDC voucher every time. We are very happy. Now, the same government is the one that organizes CPF. Why is it that you hate the person? You don't hate the person who gave you the CDC voucher, but hate the person who actually runs the scheme? Because really, if you study the scheme properly, CPF, if you know how to make use of CPF, you don't need CDC voucher. Why is that so? As of today, starting from this year, if you have enough cash and you put up your retirement account, or for those who are not reached 55 yet, at just $426,000 savings, you stand to receive $3,300 every month from age 65 and above. Now, it may seem like a small amount of money, 3,300. But then, if you combine husband and wife, you plan together, you set aside 800,000. You don't need to buy a second property. Just set aside 800,000. You would have $6,000 every month from CPF for age 65. When I said 6,000 every month, this is not money that you use and then you use a bit and save. Technically, you can use every cent because you're already retired. This money will come every month. So when you're retired, you don't save anymore. You just spend now. So 6,000 every month, 6,000 every month, 6,000 every month. The point is this. People dismiss this, but they never go to the bank. You walk into a bank, don't believe me, later you can just go to one of the private banking centers here. I want to have 6,000 or let's say just 3,000 retirement income every month. You know how much they'll tell you need 2 million. If not more. And somehow there's a cost not even guaranteed. 4 to 6. I give you a real life example comparison. A friend of mine just told me that, sadly, that was before I think she asked me, this was her planning years ago. She has spent 200,000 to buy a private annuity because the annuity promises to give her $600 every month right now until the day she dies. Sounds like a good deal, right? You put aside from just the sales speech, right? 200,000, but now you get 600 every month, until you die. But before you think it's a good deal, at least take out your pocket calculator and just key in. If 200,000, I get $600 a month. Simple calculation, just based on the 200,000, you will take 30 years to recoup your interest, your capital. Because 200,000 can last you for 30 years if you even spend 600 every day without anybody's intervention. You just put in your Postbank account or whatever. 200 divided by 600 is actually enough to last close to 30 years. So you buy an annuity, but you only can get the rewards after 30 years. Really? Good deal. If you put it in the FD, maybe you can last even 35 years. So without even any mention, what if suddenly the company goes down and everything? For CPF, the same 200,000 today, you put in CPF Life, you get 1,007 from age 65. Yes, you can't get it immediately, but from age 65. 1,007, age 65 every month. 200,000, you put it in private annuity, you get 600. Same 200,000 put in CPF Life, you get 1,007. And here's the thing. How confident are we to live up to 75? With healthy lifestyle and everything, living another 10 years, not that challenging. So in 10 years' time, even if you don't like CPF, in 10 years' time, you actually get back your 200,000. You count and see 17 times 12 times 10. That's almost close to 200,000. You get back your money straight away in just 10 years. Thereafter, anything else is a plus. So, for those of us who think that you want to have problems with retirement planning, let me tell you something you can do tonight at home, free don't have to worry about being conned because it's all government. Because seriously, a lot of people say that, oh, it's not sustainable for CPF to give you 4% in your retirement account or 5%. Not sustainable at all. They forgot one thing. The government is not a business. The government tax money. The reason why government has got money to pay you is thanks to COE going so high, thanks to the GST that you pay, because government is not, let's say, an insurance company who has to make sure that they have profit to pay you. Government has no taxes. It's like a system that's meant to benefit only the citizens. So don't talk about CPF being unsustainable because it's a social scheme that is meant to benefit people who know how to use. So technically, like I said, husband and wife, starting from today, you plan, let's say you get 6,000 a month. In 10 years, you will get almost close to 800,000, the amount that you put aside. In 20 years, you actually get almost double, 800,000. And if you are blessed with good genes, at 90, 1.44 million. So what it means is this, for those of you who really hate CPF, that's a way to make sure that you win, just live as long as possible. The longer you live, the more the government is going to pay you. And you can say that, oh, whatever you say, I have not in my 30 years in the media found a case where CPF people complain, write an email to Straits Times and say that CPF never pay me my money. No such thing. Why? Why would the government not pay you? Because if every one of us is maxed out on the CPF, actually the government is very happy because you don't have to worry about social paying you extra, don't have to make sure I have deployed social workers to make sure that you have no job, I got to take care of. All of us will be happy because when all of us are happy, you know what? The country is actually going to be very quiet because half of us will be holidaying overseas, is it? At any one in time. So the government will be very happy. Actually, it's money well spent to actually pay you to make sure that you're healthy. So the idea is, why do we give up on something as good as this? I'm not saying that, in case you're wondering now by now, is this guy an agent of CPF? Does he get a commission? Answer is no. Why am I telling about this? Is because in my research, when I became the Invest Editor in 2020, I discovered for myself also for the first time how wonderful the scheme is. I always knew that CPF is good, it's there. I'll look at it later on. But then, because of job, trust me, I read through the website, all their rules, a few times, just to be sure that this is right, and it's tested based on legal. I mean, the point is this: if the government is out to so-called misuse of money, they wouldn't in the first place put things in black and white. And truly, my question is, if you really don't like your money to be trapped or whatever by the national annuity scheme, please do yourself a favor. Don't also get your money to be trapped in a private annuity, because all things being equal, CPF is also an insurance product, just as it's run by the government. Don't be like, oh, I don't like this, I end up buying something that's substandard. Because I don't like whatever it stands for, I end up paying 200,000 and another annuity. That means basically, in short, you prefer your money to be in Tesla, good. Do what you want to grow your money. Just don't end up buying another product if you are not a supporter of CPF Life, simply because you'll be buying a substandard product. Because, let me tell you, even employees of insurance company, when they heard that the retirement sum has gone up, they themselves will also be the first to put money there, because they are believers of annuities, and they know that their own annuities cannot pay the same amount that the government is paying. Now, the third point is on investment. When we invest, sometimes it's always good to be human again. Always ask the question: why this company have a product that can give me 10%, promise 10%, private investment 20%, or whatever? Before you jump straight in, because I know FD now for most banks is about 1.6, 1.7 is very miserable. So people will jump at the opportunity if somebody offers a return of 10%. But before you jump in, always ask yourself, if the deal is so good, that especially some you won't say, 20% every month. If the deal is so good, why is it offering to the public? I might as well. If I know a way to really generate profit, right, I go to the bank, I get a huge loan myself, I tell DBS Bank, please lend me $1 billion because I know how to make 20% return. You can charge me 10% interest, but I'm still confident of making the thing. So I make 100 million just by myself. Why do I need to lend to everyone? So I will ask myself this question because this question alone has cost so many people their life savings. Rich people, I put 300,000 into this private property deal because I was promised 10-15% return. Turn out zero. Zero means the whole amount gone. Always know this, when you're buying a product that promises forever sky high return, basically you are risking 100,000 to make 10,000. That means it's like, if let's say the return is, let's say 7%, in order to earn $7, you are risking $100. So the question you have to do the sums. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. But always ask this question, what is my exit strategy? Is there a way that I can exit properly? Whatever investment that you buy, buy certain things, whatever, can you sell out immediately? If let's say suddenly there's a major crisis now, can I sell out immediately? If your answer, you don't even know how to sell out, then I would seriously advise you to be careful. Because especially currently where the interest rate, the fixed deposit is low, many people will come up with this kind of scheme. Even if you read the advertisement or whatever carefully, there's always a little asterisk that they put down there. This is projected yield. I mean, they dare not say 20% because MAS will come after that. So they go and say 7%, 8%, but projected. Projected means what, no? It means I can give you 2%. So don't complain. So the question is, as a smart investor, you must be open to some of these things. At the end of the day, and when you talk about making investment and everything to smart retirement, it's not just about making money. If you can spend less, that's also good, right? Because if you buy something that costs expensive, but then you're able to buy at a cheaper price, that's also a plus point. Let me share with you with a personal example. Why I said it pays to read and be in touch with the news around you, and also understand how cycles work. Because houses are too expensive now, nobody talks about houses now. But then they focus on the next price possession, which is a car. And as you all know, when I mention COE, a lot of people get very upset in this room. Because just a couple of days ago, there was an announcement that COE for category A is 120,000. Well, it's going to go up. Everybody was like, and so some owners is actually, this is getting bad because what if my car is going to expire in a few months' time, and then buy or don't buy? I'm proud to tell you, because I've been watching the market for so long, I just changed a car in February this year, and my COE was just 80,000. So technically, I already saved 40,000. You can say I made 40,000, but I like to say I saved 40,000. Immediately after that long period, the COE go back up to 90,000. So how come I managed to take advantage and then end up with a low COE? 80,000 compared to 120 now. So technically, I saved 40,000. Based on one simple fact which I monitor every year, and it's the same year after year after year after year. So when I sold off my car this year, and when it reached 9 years, I mean, I'm the type who like to drive up to the end, but then my aircon is getting wonky, this is wonky, that wonky, so I figured that maybe it's time to whatever. So I decided, lucky I didn't wait one more year. I bought my car in February. Why February? Chinese New Year. Okay, before you think of it, right? Many people like to buy new cars before Chinese New Year so that they can drive the new car to visit the family, say, hey, my new car. So as a result of the need to buy a car before Chinese New Year, the COE before Chinese New Year always goes up because there's a rush. You see the showroom in December, January were full of people because they want to get the new car before Chinese New Year. I'm the exact opposite. I don't need a new car for Chinese New Year. I time my purchase after Chinese New Year. How far after? Chinese New Year, if I remember correctly, was on a Wednesday this year. So I went to the showroom on that Saturday itself. just during the Chinese New Year period, I went there on Saturday, and guess what? There was nobody in the showroom. The salesperson was so happy to see me. I'm the only customer like the whole afternoon, you know. Okay, of course I didn't know the time that the COE will drop or whatever. All I know is that by going on the showroom during Chinese New Year, after Chinese New Year, I already saved 10,000 because you can check. I understand that most car company will offer a special discount to encourage people to buy a car after Chinese New Year. Because if you are the salesperson, you will understand this. You don't want your chart to show January very high, but then February no high. So they will want to make sure that it's also equally high. So whether COE go up or down, the fact that you buy a car after Chinese New Year already means you will get a special discount. In my case, I was lucky, $10,000. But the condition is this. You must take delivery of the car in February. That means I went there in February 6. He said, later by February, your car will be here. Again, it confirmed my suspicion that they want to make sure the numbers of February is also high. So they even made me sign, you know, I promise to take delivery of the car in February. To me, it's the best news ever because I remember telling my wife, oh, at least we don't have to worry the aircon breaking down again. So easier to get changed because you wouldn't want your aircon to stop working, which I have gone through a few times while you're inside the KTE and stuck in the jet because it's very, very hot and unbearable. And you can't wind down the window because you die of exhaust. So, true enough, COE was 80,000. I got my car. And now, I don't have to worry about this, the next cycle or whatever, you know. So, for those of you, you think if you can wait out, I mean, of course, I don't have guarantee that this will happen, but based on my observation for the last few years, you see the trend. At the very least, I don't know about the COE in 2026, you will still enjoy some discount simply because you understand the sales cycle of a car company. Because it's almost the same as what Warren Buffett would tell you, buy when people are scared, sell when people are passionate. It's the same for the car. Buy when nobody is buying, you know, then you enjoy at the lowest thing. So what it means is, at the end of the day, right, knowledge, you put it in your life and whatever, observe. The only reason you can have the information is read. Read the news. And I say read the news, don't just read the headline, read the subject. What's happening in the US right now? What's happening this and that? Is it a good time to do this, do that? You have to understand the implications of the things around you. And this is why I said, at the end of the day, in order to make sure you retire with more money, it's not just about investment, it's also how you spend. Don't fall into the trap. Don't give so much money, spend all your life saving to buy property for your kid, because at the end of the day, not saying that they will disappear, but it's always good, feels good to be the one with the money. So that at least they still come pay you a visit, you know. And also, one last thing, since we're talking about all these things, recently a woman called me, a lady called me, a reader, asked me for my advice. I got a property. Is it good to give my property in equal share to my kid? I said, go ahead and do this if you want them to fight. Property by their sheer nature is good for you as the owner, but not good when you pass on as an inheritance. Technically, it's wise to give only to one person. You give to two person, if they don't agree with each other, guaranteed high court. So who to give to? Right? That's why I said property is a very funny thing, you know, because, and what is worse is that there was a classic case, you know, this parent don't even have a will. Got 4 children, 2 shop houses, both close to more than 5 million, died without a will. So the 2 houses divided into 4 ways, so each one have 25% each. Wow, this one is really like another Korean drama, you know. As it turned out, the children were divided into 2 factions, so 50% both share each. So they cannot even agree with each other. They're so bitter. I mean, in the end, they agree that, okay, let's sell the thing, and whoever gets the highest price, sell. Even they cannot agree with this, I must use my agent. No, use an agent, because your agent will cheat or whatever. You know? Even they have to go to high court. Really? If the father had known that the children is aligned in this nature, at least do up a will, one shop house to this faction, the other shop house to the other faction now. So each one got 50%. Life is simpler. But I said, how to have more money if you don't even understand the basic human thing, you know. So sometimes also another thing that I would share with you is that don't just look at the law. You may have an ironclad view until Singapore Law Academy announces their decision to launch a digital a digital safe that allows Singaporeans to save their digital will with them. We are still stuck now with the simple concept of the will to keep with yourself. For some of you, the again historical drama fan, we all know about in China long ago during the Manchu dynasty, there was an emperor called Yongzheng. As the story goes, he had a wheel and he hanged the wheel in the middle of the palace. The wheel will dictate who is the next king. So he wanted, as the story says, he wanted the 14th son to be the king, the 14th prince. But as the story goes, the faction from prince number 4 decided to change the wheel, climb up, get the wheel changed to add one more stroke, become the 4th son. While it's good drama, in day-to-day life, you may have a wheel, but what's stopping one bad person in the family to come to you, give you a few punch, just like in Korean show, ask you for the wheel and tear in front of you? So if you want to do your legacy and really there's a lot at stake, please CC everybody in the whole family. So everybody has a copy. So no need to go and do suspense. I mean, only drama in TV show, you get suspense. Oh, everybody sit in the family, will to be read. Suddenly, oh, I discovered that this one become the CEO, I'm the chairman. It's like, why do you need to do that? Drama should be reserved for Netflix, you know? Don't do drama in your family. Why should you keep your succession planning a secret? Unless you don't, your whole family really something, all of them up to kill you. You know, if you name this fellow as a crown prince, then he will face assassination. But if you see enough people, still, it's a thing. So what I'm trying to say is that you see these are little things that the law books and people won't tell you, because I see this through actual case studies on how silly things could turn out. I shall pause here for a moment. Any questions? I take any questions at all. Please feel free to ask me anything. Any questions? Yes.
Are you a rich man?
I'm not rich. In case you're wondering, my company pays me a decent salary. I'm well off. Well off because I live within my means. You'll be surprised that actually I spend very little. I don't go to holiday 4 times a year. I don't do that, so I have enough. I practice what I preach, so you can almost guess that my wife and I would have decent payout from CPF every month. It's because we save for it. We are not rich, and also in case you're wondering, I don't have a second property. The day you hear that, hey, Mr. Tan just bought another property, is the day that I have won a total prize. So just like you, once in a while, you see me queuing at the Toto booth. I'm not shy to admit this, but I will, just to show that I'm not a big gambler, I will only hold $2 or $10 because if it's yours, it's yours. I don't buy a lot of it. $2 is enough. I don't even subscribe to digital betting because the more it is easy to access, the temptation is harder. So yeah, it's okay. Don't be caught by this cycle. Just if you see the booth is empty, by all means buy $2, whatever. But I will never queue for a long thing, you know. Because at the end of the day, it's good to have a windfall. Because windfall, to me, by definition, allows you to do silly things that you won't do otherwise do. For example, if I win a big prize, I will have no hesitation to go on holiday, maybe this time around in first class. Because if you were to pay for your first class ticket yourself for holiday, you know the assessment will come in. Wow, I paid 20,000 for air ticket. The 20,000 I can use to actually, I can stay in a suite there. You know, even that doesn't cost 20. You start thinking, oh, I can even buy a watch. You know, so as a result, you end up in economy class because you have so much concern using the $20. You know, either on the air ticket and the. Trust me, I think a lot of people don't realize if the plane goes down, whether first class or economy class, you go down. First class air ticket doesn't mean that food there is better than the Michelin star or whatever you can buy. You know? So, like I said, everybody will love a windfall because a windfall allows you to be a bit crazy, stop be rational for a while. So I also want to be rational for a while without worrying about cost. So to answer the question, no, I'm not rich. I'm well off because it's because I spend within my means. My salary every month I save because I don't spend a lot. In case you're wondering what car I bought, it's the cheapest in Singapore. No, it's a Nissan. It's reliable and I'm not promoting Nissan, but it so happened that it's trouble-free. I spend, based on past historical thing, I very spend little. So I don't need a car to show that I'm well off. I don't need a BMW, to show that, oh, Invest Editor must drive a BMW. If you drive a cheap car, it's not successful. No, I don't need all this because, like I said, I just walk here, you don't even know what car I buy. So I don't let me define by a car. Any other questions? Yes?
What's your advice for investment in today's low interest climate? After you put the money in CPF.
Okay. Good question. Actually, I forgot to talk about this. Based on really unbiased advice from experts all around the world, if you are within 5 years of retirement, you should not be too worried about investing for growth. I would add to say that when you are close to retirement age, when I say close to retirement, means the day that you stop working, there is no more income. You should be 5 years thereabout, enter into a stage what I call wealth preservation, because you cannot afford to lose money anymore. Because don't let it see that, okay, so buy this high risk wealth. Number one, I wouldn't buy anything that doesn't allow me to liquidate straight away. I can't tell you exactly what you should buy, but I will tell you what you should not buy. Never buy any funds or any product that have problems in liquidation that requires you to hold the money for a certain period before you can liquidate. Always make sure that the fund is readily available when you need it. So in today's environment, right, if let's say really you think that there's a way to save, I mean, one possibility is this. Recently I was talking to my another my professor, my law professor. I'm glad that because I share a lot of my views with him, so he also shared his views with me. I discovered that we also have something some similarity in the way we look at money. Recently, because like what you pointed out, fixed deposit rate is lower. I can share you, I'm not asking you to do it, but something that you can consider. Singapore dollars is very strong, but the interest rate is very low. There's one currency out there that is equally strong as well, very well used, but the interest rate is still more than 3%, and that's USD. Somebody will not recommend because they will say that, oh, USD, you have a fixed deposit in USD, it pays you 3+%, much higher than what Singapore can do, even higher than CPF, 2.5. But the danger is in the foreign exchange. But if you take a long-term view, every time you earn 3 to 4% of interest, which is also paid in USD dollar, you will get accumulate. So long as you don't do anything to the account, your money can only grow. So one possibility is, like I said, if you think that USD is something, whatever, have a USD account and consider this. Because at the end of the day, right, right now it's trading 1.28. A few months ago it was 1.34. So it goes up, you enjoy capital appreciation as well as the interest rate. But if it goes down, just hold. It's a long-term thing. I don't need the money. That is always there. But more importantly, no matter what happens, the money is within your control. Suddenly there's a crisis, you need the money, you can just go to the bank, you drop, you lose the profit, interest. You buy a product, you are stuck. You buy a property, it could even be worse. And also more importantly is that you're talking about small money in this case. I'm not asking you to put 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. It depends on the risk appetite. But I'm just saying that understanding how things work can sometimes be in your favor. You take little things like this. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, yes, it's a risk. US dollar exchange can go down further, but the point is, if you don't touch it, your money will keep accumulating at the rate that's faster than Singapore dollar because of the higher interest rate. Even after the Fed cut, right? I just checked again, it didn't really drop so much. So what I'm trying to say is that you want something that is easy to whatever, and then something that's safe within your control. The keyword is within your control. This is one area you can look at. I wouldn't advise, as I said, if you are already close to retirement age, or we should always look at things in a simpler way. And also another possibility is gold. Gold is always good. In case of war, gold is always good. But please don't buy a gold bar that's 1 kg or 100 gram, big ones. Because just like in the movies, you need to escape. You need to hire a boat to escape to Indonesia. You only got 1 kg gold. How are you going to be able to give you change? And then don't buy jewelry. Jewelry is a losing proposition because the cost is design cost and all sorts of things, and the gold may not even be pure. You want to buy a gold, I mean, have it in easy disposable. I mean, I'm not saying that buy the 1 gram one, you pay excessive thing, but at least 20 gram, 10 gram, 50 gram max, so that you don't need to break the gold in order to pay for the passage to run away or to buy a bag of rice. Then nobody can give you a change, right? I mean, and also just to end up, since I talk about disaster, people talk about CPF. How safe is CPF? I say very safe because CPF is the only investment product that's protected by the Singapore Armed Forces. And I just read that the protection increased by the recent arrival of F-35 fighter planes that join our things, So it's very safe. Singapore is not going to go away. And also, the thing is, the only way they can cause your money in CPF to disappear, really based on my observation is, number one, Singapore is conquered by an enemy force, or there's a zombie outbreak. I mean, all of us are dead. But when these two happens, I think money in your CPF is your last worry. You should be running away somewhere first. I'm just saying that, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you bring your Netflix experience into day-to-day life. Sometimes you think about it, right? Prepare for the worst case scenarios and everything. This is what planning is fun. No need to be seriously, retirement planning is easy. It's not difficult if you know how to. Don't always have to worry about making money and everything. A lot of people only think about the best outcome, but they never think about the worst outcome. Just like somebody said, if I put all my money in CPF, what if I die early? Then my money will be gone, so to speak. Frankly, I told the person, when you die early, actually you don't have to worry because you're traveling to the next world. If you believe it, you're now on the journey to the next world already. You may be reborn as a future king in your next life, you're done good. You shouldn't worry about your CPF and everything. You're going to the next world already. The more scary thing is, what if you don't die? You continue to live, 95 still around. Hey, next year, SG 100, I'm still around. I'm almost as old as Singapore. That's the trouble, when you suddenly your fund runs out. Hey, your property investment need renovation too, because when you're 90 years old, so where are you going to get money to renovate? So good to have cash, always have that. I'm just saying that good to have both, but be practical. Questions? Yes.
Moving forward, will you be having another book on the importance of having a will? I'll just share my personal experience. A couple of years ago, I read a book about the adverse consequences if you do not have a will. So after reading all the case studies, so I quickly went to a lawyer and had my will written. Yeah. So
okay.
Will you be coming out with another book?
Have you read this book?
I haven't.
Okay, this book has got stuff about views. This book also has stuff about views. Good that you raised this question. Let me share with you. Sometimes, right, this one I just discovered myself recently. And like I said, it pays when you read a lot. I read, let's just say practically almost every court decision in Singapore because that's my passion. I just read everything. Sometimes I read to gain knowledge. Not having a view is a bad thing. What can be worse than not having a view is when you write your view yourself. You try to save on cost, get online or whatever, try to write a view yourself. Trust me, you're not saving money, you're just making life difficult for your beneficiary because anything goes wrong, again, it's a court case. Sometimes, right, when we talk about writing will, it's good to get advice from lawyers, but not all lawyers are equal. Some are good, some are not so good. Because when I say not so good, I mean no disrespect, meaning they just give you a standard format. Because if you are very rich, you have lots of assets, then the lawyer should come up with creative solution to help you to keep your empire within the family and not go to a third party. Because this is every parent's worst nightmare, which is to have your empire and your wealth be taken away by another person, especially when the person is a money-grabbing person and is even a bad person. So recently I read a story which I'm going to write about later on. So you guys are the first to hear about it. Even my wife doesn't know that I'm writing this story. a very rich woman. Maybe it's a bad example, but then she was really very good. She, in her happy days, it comes from a rich family, but then she even very smart. She managed to accumulate properties worth more than 100 million. You see, the good old days, these stories like this will make you think that property investment is very good, but she probably bought it much early. You guys may not believe it. About 30 years ago, an apartment just off Orchard Road only goes for 200,000. I wish I bought that. Don't have to be very far. About 15 to 16 years ago, an apartment in Sentosa Cove only worth 700,000. We all journalists are good at one thing. We always know how to write to tell people, hey, this is a good deal, 700,000. Sentosa Cove. We ourselves never buy. Always like this. We always tell people, good deal, never buy. That same apartment now is 4 million. So, this lady was very savvy. He has 100,000 worth of assets. And he discovered that, this is really a Korean drama. The son married a woman that he doesn't like, she doesn't like. This woman, I really hate this daughter-in-law. Now she's worried that if I give my property to the son, the woman will take a share. So she and the lawyer came up with a very interesting situation. Unfortunately, she passed away due to an accident at home. Maybe she fell down or whatever. It was not mentioned. She died early, but her will was one of those that I've never seen for a long time. She put in her will, she just passed away in, I think 20, before COVID, maybe let's say 2015. Her will states that the property is given to her son and daughter, about 100 million, today's value more than 100 million. They cannot sell the property until 25 years after her passing. That means the way I calculated, the children can only sell the property in 2040. But meanwhile, the children can draw at least $10,000 every month from the estate, but they cannot sell the property. That means they can take money, but cannot sell the property. Now, why does a woman think this is good to do this? Because as a parent, you think that, to be fair, you may not like this daughter-in-law or whatever, but maybe she's a real good person. She will stay through thick and thin with the son. So if, let's say, they are still married 25 years later, then she also deserves to get a share. Then she's become my family. Just like Korean drama, I prove my worth as a daughter-in-law. I give you all family, 3 children, 4 children. So I deserve it. 25 years later, if you're still married, you deserve to take my inheritance as well. But as it turned out, the daughter-in-law turned out to be after some money also lah. And the couple divorced, and then in her divorce, she asked for maintenance of 30,000, and you know that she's after the money. So in a way, the parent was right to put a pause. Don't sell my property 25 years later. So I'm just saying that sometimes in life, right, you don't have to be the legal expert. Just watch enough Korean drama and whatever. You also will come up with strategy, and you tell them once you know the idea, you tell the idea, hey, I don't want this person to harass or whatever. What can I do? Then you think, what can you do? You come up with the general thing, I don't want my inheritance to go to this, so what solution can you offer? Then the lawyer would be forced to come up with interesting things to help you. And it doesn't charge extra, it's the same thing as just words.
After there will be a few sessions, you just tell him what you want, what you do not want, then he will propose.
Correct. It's the same thing, they won't charge a lot, because at the end of the day, it's just instruction. So what I'm trying to say is that you should be the one deciding the thing, Don't let people tell you do this, because at the end of the day, it's you, it's your money. And also, to be fair, I always tell people that if you really have money, you have the money, don't keep everything to yourself and until why must you only give your property away when you're dead? Do it when you're still alive. I think the effect is different. One fine day, your grandchildren come to you, granddaddy, you tell me the hongbao they give, wow, $50,000 in the hongbao, wow, this granddaddy must always visit. So people will be happy with you because you share your wealth and you're happy. Nothing beats seeing your children happy faces when you help them out. Because why do I need to wait? If you can afford to, give it while you're still alive. When I say give it, don't be like that couple 600,000 go holiday, go education until you yourself don't have enough money to spend. Do it within your means. Be smart. And again, as I said, there's only one expert in your household, and that's you. No lawyer, the lawyer and everybody else is only here to assist you. So the more you read, the more you understand, then you see from other people the mistakes that they make. Like I said, at the end of the day, another one, I don't know why, parents like to, maybe they watch too much drama. They always like to do this. I get the elder son to be the joint owner of my property, but then when the time comes, the property goes to the younger son. Then the joint owner will wonder, hey, all along I'm the real owner, then how come the property goes to this? You are actually setting the stage for a court case. Many court cases can be avoided. So if really you cannot pass down the property, sell, divide. Cash, that's why I said cash is still king in the sense that it's liquid, it's easy, it's whatever. So, yeah, I will continue to write more because as I see more cases, because right now, these two books also have a thing. I write about things that nobody else talks about. No lawyers and no other financial advisor will tell you how to write a will to keep bad people from taking your money. I just wrote about it 2 weeks ago, I think, right? You just write about but what about, in every family there's always one or two bad apple, just like a Korean show, right? One or two always disturb you, and you worry about that person harassing a beneficiary. You worry about the person launching a lawsuit to say, no, this will is not valid. So what do? In my book, I said, if you have such a person in the family, let's say you call this person X, you write in the will, I have considered X and I have decided not to give X any money. That means the thing go to court, right? The court will say, yeah, he's not mad, he knows what he wants. This person get nothing. Just, was it last week? I wrote about a man who married into a sham marriage. He put down there, the wife, I do not want my wife to inherit anything on my property because our marriage is a sham. The court upheld the term. So can do the same thing. I only want this son to become the next emperor. I'm confirmed it's number 14, not 4. Don't worry, people change, it's a conspiracy. No, I mean, nothing wrong, have fun with the will. It's your will, you can write anything there, and so long as people understand what you want.
My lawyer told me that. He said you state whatever your intention.
Yeah, but must be clear. Don't do silly things like I want to give my property to my dog. Oh my God, first of all, it's invalid. Sadly, the law don't recognize Bobby or whatever, no matter how animals they don't recognize. But otherwise, you are the expert. Draft an interesting will, and also don't just have a. You want to be dramatic, you can write a very poem or my biggest wish is for all of you to be happy life. This is a parent, I love all you dearly, and wives. Sometimes it's good to leave words like this to your next generation. A will should be fun. More importantly, like I said, where possible, try to let as many people know early what you plan to do in case the will go missing. Sometimes all these practical things are the house on fire, the will burn. Until the will is. I'm still waiting for the system. Singapore Law Academy says that they will start a service that will help Singaporeans and everybody else store a digital copy of will. These are things that you may think that it's a practical thing. There's nothing legal, nothing financial. They forgot that human being. Okay, right now you write a will, it's with your lawyer. But what if you are healthier than your lawyer? The lawyer may be disappeared, and in one case, the lawyer, the clerk disappeared, resigned. Then you went to find the will. So, sometimes it's good to have. Yeah, and also technically, law firms are not bound to keep your will. They can throw it away. I mean, let's say after 50 years or whatever. And also, there's no rule to say they must keep a copy of the will.
For myself, I kept it as Cisco said, divorce, then your executor will have access to it.
Yeah, but then what if the key is missing?
So they give you a few.
Okay. I'm not saying anything, but later, you better keep in touch with news. 30 years from now, government decide to reclaim the land. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, there are many other things. It's not a done deal. I'm just saying that's why will is something that is a living object. Because 10 years from now, you may have really struck the big price of Toto. Suddenly your wealth increase. You have extra 3 more properties in your portfolio. Then you will need to change.
Yeah, go back to
then what I'm trying to say is it's always good because when you're young, have one holding one. When you have kids, you must have another will to make sure that you provide guardian for your kids. When in your 50, you have one. And then when you're 70, maybe it's good to have another because your wealth may have changed. So it's always good to revise so that it's a real situation because I have a good friend who's a lawyer. He told me this interesting case. Her client is very, very rich. In Singapore, there are some people who are so quietly rich that it's mind-boggling. I just told you this woman, nobody knows who she is, has a 100 million property just as a housewife. This one is a businessman. She's so rich until certain street in Singapore, almost all the building and property there belongs to him. It's that kind of rich. So it's a multi-billionaire, quietly rich, and you don't know who the person is. He could be sitting next to you in a coffee shop or whatever. But she's a very frugal man. So, but he gave my lawyer a lot of work, but for all the wrong reason. Every other month he'll call my lawyer. I want to change my will because my son was very rude to me, so I want to disinherit him. So a few months later, you'll change his will again, change again, because there's so much property at stake, So like the emperor, he keep on switching the beneficiary. So much so that my friend told the man, okay, now that you're at this age, you're 80, 90, before you every time you change the will, I will bring doctors to assess that you are still capable. So the cost of doctor making house call is 4,000, 5,000. That kind of stopped the man because I don't pay 4,000 just to write the will. Because changing will is cheap, but when the doctor comes in, it becomes more expensive. So then that appears to put a stop to this person. I'm just saying that, you see, the point is, when I hear the case, why do you need to be like that? How about doing charity? The point is, they are so rich. Like recently, you just read, right, this, was it the Nippon paint color, the grandson, each one get $1 billion. Really? 1 billion even you put in the FD 1.5%, is 150 million. Then you can't even finish spending. I always think that if you have this kind of thing, why don't we do good? Help people. In US, at the very least, whether you like, one thing, there's some things you cannot dislike Americans is because many of them are very generous people. You see in movies, there are things like called soup kitchen. Even though you are poor, there's always a meal for you. You have no place to sleep, there's always a shelter for you. My question is that, do we have such initiatives? Yes, I know we do have, but not in the same frequency as in the States, when you have soup kitchen, all the place where you know that you go in to have a meal or whatever. So I'm just saying that that's what money is supposed to be for. Is to make another person's life better. Like Andrew Carnegie, the purpose of having money, and Andrew Carnegie happens to be the most charitable person in the history of mankind, because at his time he donated hundreds and hundreds of billions, which in today's money probably is in billions. And he said that money should be for the betterment of life of a fellow human being, to enrich the mind. If without Andrew Carnegie, the world will not know that this term called library. The reason why there's a library is because you can say that he's a forefather of library, because he's devoted a lot of money building public libraries, not just in the United States, but all over the world. So this is what money should be for, to help our fellow human beings. Because trust me, the spirit of giving truly, when I say spirit of giving, sometimes don't be like, oh, okay, I write a check to Red Cross, that's it. It's not that. It's really helping people close to you. If you are an employer, be nice to your employee. That's charity. I mean, in a form of charity, being nice, being person, be nice to people who serve you. Sometimes it's like, hey, reward. We are not. We don't have a culture of tipping. But what's wrong with giving a waitress or somebody who has served you well? You go for a nice haircut. What's wrong with giving a tip to somebody? So what I'm trying to say is that there are various ways to be nice with fellow people, and that's what money should be for, in my view.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I overshot the thing. Again, thank you for coming. If you want to ask me questions about your financial matters, just Google my name. My email is there. Write to me, drop an email. No matter, no questions will be too silly or whatever. If you're at CPF, I definitely will be able to answer. If it's a legal help and whatever, I may be able to refer you to lawyers whom I think can help you. But at the end of the day, like I said, I make it my mission to help to enlighten my readers' financial knowledge as much as possible. So thank you again for attending this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boon, for the